Good evening. It is Thursday evening at 9:10. The weather is horrendous, but one thing isn't. That is the Colts' current starting quarterback for the remainder of the season. Yes, that is right. The prodigy, the Andrew Luck takeover is back. Anthony Richardson, with, I think it's fair to say, quite a big legacy game for him. We're going to get into all that. And joining me, as usual, is Nathan. How's it going?
Yeah, I'm really good, man. Love that intro too. Where did you pluck that from? That was so seamless with the weather to the indie comparison. So yeah, big fan of that intro, man. Big fan.
Okay, shall we get straight into it? The
Yeah,
Colts
let's do it.
The Colts beat the Jets 28-27. Before the game in our WhatsApp group, I said Anthony Richardson would go for 350, 3 touchdowns and no turnovers. I was in the region. I was in the region.
You were not far off.
Far off.
Shame you didn't put a few pounds on it, right? You would have come really close. Yeah, totally agree with the legacy game. This was a game where if AR didn't play the way that he did, he was going to get, murdered by the media, I would say. And, yeah, I'm sure we'll get more into the game itself, but, what a performance, and shout out to our head coach, Shane Steichen, who seemed to go back to last year. There was a dynamic shift in how he called plays on Sunday, and it's resulted in Richardson winning an angry run statue from Good Morning Football. I don't know if you've seen that, and
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody watching has seen that, but really cool piece of merchandise to own if you're in America, I'm sure. But yeah, what did you think of the performance overall?
Okay, so after rewatching the game, you know how much I am a fan of Gus Bradley, and never doubted his ability as a defensive coordinator.
You are the head of the Gus Bradley fan club, so yeah.
But no, credit where credit's due. The past 3 to 4 weeks, and when they've not been on the field for 60 plus minutes, this defense has been showing up big time. And that is, I think we've been crying out for somebody to grab this franchise, this team by the horns, where have the captains been? But absolutely fair play to Kenny Moore, who I think has been outstanding, Jalen Jones and Nick Cross. When we play such a heavy rush 4 system, we've seen a bit more blitzing recently, but the 5-man blitzes are very hit and miss. They have really turned up these defensive backs.
Yeah, and a defensive back group that's faced a lot of criticism this year. Not only on this show, but rightly in national media, and Colts Twitter was imploding in the first 2 weeks with these young kids, and to quote Ballard, we've got to let the young kids play, and I mean, damn, they've restarted to play. I want to allude to a quote that you made on this show a few weeks ago. Where are our leaders? Where are our players who are going to really take control of a game? And you look at PFF's grading of Indy from Sunday. 3 of them are in on defense, and Nick Cross and Jalen Jones are all in that secondary group. So yeah. Amazing from, let's be honest, a less gassed Colts defense in recent weeks. you know, you look at the Bills game as a product of just, you know, I think they were on the field for 42 minutes.
Yeah.
That's just unheard of, you know, especially against Josh Allen, who,
Yeah.
you know, let's face it, is probably going to win MVP this year. But yeah, Indy secondary is starting to really ball out, and I'm really, really happy for Nick Cross. Like, I'm really rooting for that kid. Hasn't been a great, you know, an easy start to his career. Drafted really young. You know, there's a lot of controversy coming into this season of where was he going to play, and you know, was Gus even going to find a position for him? And the kid's just balling out. Like, you know what I mean? My eyes are on him, and obviously Kenny Moore a lot when we're on D.
Yeah. I think a fair point to say would be this defense has been rightly criticised. Um, I would say we've given a balanced opinion of, okay, well, maybe Gus Bradley hasn't got all his pieces. You know, he's working with a lot of seventh rounders in that backfield. I know not technically seventh rounders, but he's not working with star names. I think we discussed on the last show who is the star. You know, I'm still looking for that spark from our edge rushers. Again, Latu and Quitty sealing the game, but come on, we need some, if especially going into the next game. We'll get into that. But yeah, it's hard when you start a season so badly, which they did. It can be very hard to bounce back, and things can spiral quickly. You know, we've all played sports at amateur levels, and when you're on a team that's not good, it can get very, very nasty very quickly, and it can be quite a bad place and toxic place to be. So all credit to them for jumping back and bouncing back quite literally. Was there a pick in this game? I can't remember.
I don't believe so.
No,
No, not from memory. We had a lot of third down stops. We had Jet Life booing their offense off the field after 3 possessions because they just couldn't move the ball on us. It was awesome to watch. You know, we haven't seen a lot of that this year.
And yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head. We haven't seen our defense shut down a team completely. There's always been one big play in a drive somewhere. But that's what I was thinking of. Was it the fourth down play by Jalen Jones, the diving back down, the diving swat?
Yes, yeah. Really good pass breakup. Yeah,
that is just someone who is playing full of confidence, who struggled maybe on occasion against the best wide receiver in the league, against Justin Jefferson. But other than that, he's been pretty faultless. He's made rookie mistakes, which I'm okay with. But onto the offensive side of the ball, it's just life is just a better place when Anthony Richardson is playing quarterback. It's just like, and yeah, like I say, I tweeted, I put in the WhatsApp group, legacy game incoming. There's a bit of like a belief thing more than he's going to actually do it. But the play I was impressed with most was the first big play to the best, for me, the best receiver in the league, for me, Josh Downs, over the top. And what I saw was he took some power off his throw. That is all we've been asking for him to do. And if he doesn't, week 1, week 2, he overshoots that. But you see him restrain his throw just enough where he's put it where only Josh Downs can catch it, and then what a catch it was.
Yeah, and Colts fans, maybe fans of other teams, might be going, "Oh, it's just the Jets." But that was the #1 pass defense in football going into Sunday,
Yeah.
in quite a few metrics. So, it wasn't an easy assignment for AR and Indy Zoe. But yeah, we definitely seen AR take a bit off it, but we also saw the rocket take off when he threw that just fastball over the middle that Pittman dropped.
Yeah.
I do think that Pitt, shut up Pitt, he's got to catch that ball, regardless of how hard, you know, we've seen quarterbacks over the years throw fastballs and, you pay the guys that can catch them.
Yeah.
And that was such a key kind of momentum shift in the game.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's not be too negative too quickly. This was an amazing showing. My personal favorite play, and quite a few plays, was just how hard AR is to tackle. That guy's just, it, handing people off. And I mean,
Yeah.
the throw he made to Downs, he was getting sacked. He was like off balance, and it's like, what
Yeah.
other QB makes that throw?
Mhm.
Yeah, just amazing from the kid. And shout out to Shane too. We've given Shane a bit of criticism
Yeah.
recently. You know, and I think you were really accurate, man, at the beginning of the year, where you had a lot of frustration. Well, we had a lot of frustration that Anthony was they were trying to turn him into this pocket passer, deep ball thrower. Constantly putting him in second and longs, third and 13s. Whereas what we saw Sunday, I felt, was very reminiscent to a Shane Steichen kind of Jalen Hurts type game,
Yeah.
when he started to have big success with Jalen. So yeah, I'm just so excited that Anthony's back, and as you said, life is better. I think being a Colts fan's better when Richardson's on the field. Apart from the next kind of retirement home QB that they bring in.
Yeah. And it's that exactly right. It's a direction. It's we all know Anthony Richardson is the future, whether it's for 1 year or 2 years until Archman declares, probably 3 if he's made to go through college, which he probably will be done. So we know if it all goes wrong, there's the next man in, right? But we know if it all goes right, we've got an Andrew Luck carbon copy of Andrew Luck, essentially. A
I
lot
mean,
of people say Luck was a linebacker playing quarterback. I would say Richardson's more of a fullback playing quarterback. But
it's like an edge.
yeah,
It's like an edge rusher,
yeah,
throwing a ball. But yeah, it's interesting when you think of that comparison game that we all like to do. We've had to do it as
yeah, yeah.
indie fans. We've had to be, when's the next Andrew Luck coming along?
Mhm.
Man, if Richardson keeps going and achieves the ceiling, other teams are going to be trying to find
The
the
next,
next Anthony Richardson.
yeah,
And that's exciting for me because I just see Josh Allen in the kid.
yeah,
I really, really do. And, Josh had big struggles early.
mhm.
And I think, Anthony will have to do a lot of what Josh had to do, go with a private throwing coach, and especially in the off season, he's going to have to, really dial it in to get there. But
Yeah.
yeah, let's hope Shane just keeps making it as easy for him as he did on Sunday.
And that's sometimes sometimes it's Occam's razor, right? Sometimes it's just the simple explanation. Progress isn't linear.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I can say. Is sometimes it just doesn't work out the way you want it to. It's never gonna do. Um, what this has shown me is that he can quite clearly overcome adversity in his own career. That a lot of people, probably myself included, would have absolutely folded if that happened to me.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely have folded. I'll leave media and what I think of media towards the end of the show when we've got the team wrapped up. Another person who I want to give an absolute massive shout out, who absolutely teared his old college teammate and the Jets a new one. That's Mr. Alec Pierce. I'm running out of words to describe this guy. And apparently, the pass to him on the final drive was all him. He said to apparently, okay, but he said to AR, look, they're getting noisy. If you see their cornerback getting noisy, getting aggressive, hit me, I'm there. And that pass from Anthony Richardson to Pierce, that is the 1%, right? That is the play prime Aaron Rodgers makes. That is the play prime Tom Brady makes. That
Completely agree.
We've got Anthony Richardson because, like you said, that's the play a Josh Allen makes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was amazing to see these indie receivers just putting Sauce Gardner on, upside down at times.
Yeah.
Pierce did it. Shout out A.D. Mitchell, what an insane play. He literally left Sauce on skates. And I'm sure we'll talk about kind of how much he still has to learn quite clearly. He needs to watch a bit of rugby to see what a sidestep is, but people will hate me saying that as well. But we'll move on. But yeah, Pierce is just proving that, how much people have overlooked the guy. And, arguably playing himself up the depth chart. Pierce this year has made more of an impact, I would say, than Pitt has.
Mm-hmm. And indie fans know about Alec Pierce, right? I wouldn't, he's never going to turn up in a flash suit in an expensive car. He's just not that type of guy. He's not going to wear listening to boom. But do you know what I mean? He's not a drip guy. He's not a trend guy. He's not a Madden guy. So for him to get his quarterback, because indie fans have been screaming, get Alec Pierce a quarterback. Well, the sensible indie fans have, people saying don't pay him, get rid of him, trade him. The sensible ones have been saying get him a quarterback. We know what he can do. And he's finally got himself a quarterback who's happy to find him.
Absolutely.
Like you say, A.D. Mitchell is going in the right direction. Again, stupidly criticised by the media, if you asked me earlier in the year, for making a business decision when the Colts have got a legend in T.Y. Hilton, who's going to be probably Ring of Honor, potentially Hall of Famer later down the line, who was the best at making the business decision, which actually got him a couple of touchdowns in the end. For just going down and nobody's touched me. Oh. But
and I mean, if you don't mind me coming in there, one thing I really like about AD is how much it looks like Reggie Wayne just loves that kid.
Mm-hmm.
Like every time you watch Reggie do an interview, and he's such a smooth operator when he's in front of a mic. He just loves AD. I was literally watching his interview earlier, and he praised him and rightly said, when you dive, you've really got to make sure you're there. But yeah, super excited for AD. He's making steps every week, and just one exciting player I think we have on our hands.
And the last sort of play I want to get to is, I mentioned him earlier, but I fucking love Josh Downs. I seriously think he was a third round pick.
Third round pick.
People can say, especially to play, I think it was third and long. AR hits him on the short, and he just absolutely spins the coverage and picks up the first. I don't know how this kid isn't getting more and more recognition, because a consistent season for him is over 1,000 yards receiving and double digits touchdown. Easy, because he is electric. The negative, it was obviously, I know, and I agree with what you said. It's just the Jets. Yeah, they weren't amazing, the Jets, especially on offense. But we have got to learn how to kill a game. Like you said, we had them booing Aaron Rodgers, their savior. You know, after being in Green Bay all these years, choosing the Jets over Indianapolis potentially. We all know he was good friends with Pat. You know, other big teams. We had them booing. Mate. I was watching it on the TV. They were done. They didn't want to be in the stadium. And then just two stupid mistakes, just two silly mistakes, absolutely gave them life. And a better team absolutely kills us at that point. And that's where, for me, the learning curve is for Shane, for Anthony, for Gus and his defense. We just can't give up easy drives like that. We can't keep doing this, because I've seen it so many times.
Yeah, and January football, you kind of don't make it there if that's how you play,
Yeah.
and we've seen it too much, haven't we? But yeah, I think I and I think is a really nice segue into our opponent on Sunday,
Yeah.
which I really can't wait to talk about, because Detroit are, I think, the coolest and best team in NFL this year. But Dan Campbell has brought in a culture of just destroying your opponent, right?
Yeah.
And it's all about gas, isn't it? It's all about keeping your foot on the gas. And this Indy team has shown, especially on Sunday, that it's capable of scoring points.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want us to become a team that, takes our foot off the gas and kind of, as you so rightly said there, allows our opposition to come back at us and kind
Yeah.
of puts our offense in a position to kind of take a little bit of a breather. No,
Yeah.
we could have easily, I think, have been 28-0 up at
Yeah.
halftime in that
Yeah.
game. Why would you not want to be in that way? We're playing away from home in MetLife. Like,
Yeah.
I'd want a 4-score,
Yeah.
safety net. And I'm sure we'll, naturally move on to talking about Detroit, but I think there isn't enough of that in this league as a whole. We're not the sole team that takes their foot off the gas. It's a league-wide problem.
Yeah. It's For me, it's the I'll bring in things back to soccer, but it's the whole 2-0 theory, right? I,
What a perfect analogy. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, it
yeah.
is.
It's And for our American viewers who are not big soccer fans and people who haven't heard of the theory or the famous saying, 2-0, teams get comfortable, they sit off, but then all of a sudden, out of the freak circumstance, which I've seen happen to my own teams this year, you find yourself at 2-2. And then it's like, it's hard to recover from that point when you've been 2-0 up, it's 2-1, you go, oh shit. All of a sudden, you look, you're two touchdowns, you're two scores down or whatever. I think you're absolutely right. It's obviously not just us. It feels like it's just us because we are Colts fans, and it's magnified to us. I think it's a league-wide problems because of the game is set up to market individual brilliance at the minute. That was a long way of going around. It's a bit of a circus. And I'm with you. My favourite teams this year are the Bills and the Lions.
Yeah.
Like, obviously the Colts, but my favourite teams to watch outside of us are the Bills and the Lions
Yeah.
because they represent enjoying the game. And I think that's where I've struggled with the Colts the past few years is it's just not been about enjoying the game.
Mm.
It's been about the excuse, like you say, it's been about Balogun. Well, we were this close, man. Like, we can do it. And let's see what we've got next year. No, let's see what we've got now. At some point, as a team, as a franchise, you have to gamble. And I think that's where I'm like, that's why after rewatching the game, I don't disagree with what Shane did. My annoyance comes from when you gamble in the Texans game and then shit the bed and don't do it next time. Like, yeah, that's what I can say. That's all I can say of that. Really, it's just that people are not playing to enjoy the game because there's such a fear of fans want to win now. There's no building anymore. You don't build anything anymore. There's no Wenger's, Ferguson's in soccer. There's no Belichick's. There's no Poilians in American football. Fans demand winning now. It's such an instant culture we live in. And I'm sure there's plenty of off-season content we could put on that by itself. But that's where I see the problem is nobody's interested in the process.
Yeah, I mean, we've been victim to that this year, right?
Mhm.
And I really hope that we do find out whose decision it was to bench AR. I know Shane has stood on the podium twice, and that's his job. That's what he gets paid, millions of bucks to do, and said it was his decision and whatnot. But I really hope that they clarify who made that call. And it, look, I like that you explained that point. Not a lot of viewers may be soccer fans, and I think you did a good job of explaining it.
Mm-hmm. So my very last thing on this game before we get into Sunday is why does every kicker have their best game against the Colts? That was just some
Yeah,
geezer they've picked up off the street. He wasn't even a kicker. It was like their
yeah,
fourth. He just like literally just got grabbed. He was going to the toilet at halftime, and there's like, yeah, we need a kicker, and then he kicks a 58-yarder. Like,
yeah.
like,
You're right. This it's a scene it's a scene we keep on seeing.
yeah,
But yeah, thankfully, Matt Gay kind of returned the favour, right?
yeah,
Pretty clean game from Matt on Sunday, and you know, thankfully, didn't have to come out and kick a game winner because the Colts D just shut it down.
a big. I'd say it was a good day for Gay. A big confidence boosting day for him. I think a lot of us have been saying, is he done? Has his leg gone? The injury, the hernia, has the power gone? But to hit outside, to hit a 58 yarder makes you go, okay, maybe I can hit a 60 yarder inside. Just, yeah. Sunday, um, just a small obstacle of probably one off, if not the best team in the NFL coming up. Now, my precursor to this, like we said off air, is the Colts love beating the best team in the league and they're not making the playoffs. Matt Ryan, like you said, Matt Ryan did it to the Chiefs, and I've seen it happen before. Tell me why I'm not wrong when I say we're going to go and beat the Lions.
It, mate, history doesn't lie, and history has put this team often being giant killers. I remember Carson Wentz going off against the Arizona Cardinals at Arizona as well in
Yeah,
prime time. And we didn't make the playoffs then either. But yes, the Detroit Lions come to town. the hottest, song on the radio, so to speak. A team that leaves no prisoners. I was doing a bit of research. I'm just going to read some
Yeah.
score lines to you, Harrison, about Detroit's recent few games. So, what do we have? So, Sunday just gone, they put 52 on Jacksonville. 3 weeks before that, they put 52 on Tennessee. What's the trend here? Are they going to put 52 on the Colts and just dominate the AFC South? That's a scary thought as well, and it's definitely not out of the scope of possibility. I really hope they don't put 52 on us. But this Detroit team, under Dan Campbell and under Ben Johnson, who, let's be honest, Ben Johnson every week is an audition for the head coach job. So, but yeah, back to your original point, 'cause I kind of went on a little bit of a fanboy run then of Detroit. But yeah, it's weird. A lot of games this year I've had very little faith in. But this one just feels a bit different. I think we were talking about it off air.
Yeah.
When we got the ball back on Sunday and AR had to take us to win, it just felt different. Even if this was 3 or 4 weeks ago, we all probably would have gone, he's going to throw an interception and we're going to lose. But it just felt different, and everything seems like maybe the lights have been switched back on in this roster and in this locker room. And yeah, I don't know if I want to say on the internet that I think we're going to beat the Lions, but it feels different this year.
I think there's one way to beat the Lions, and that is to just be a horrible team.
Completely agree.
Be an absolute prime Jose Mourinho, Chelsea 03, 014, 04, 05, whatever it was. Just every trick in the book. You know what I mean? Any of their players come near you, flop. Force the referees to make the call. I don't care if it looks horrendous, if national media cry about it. Force the referees to make the call. And I think that is the one way, because Dan Campbell is very clever. He looks like he's a run through a brick wall type of guy. That's what I get the feeling from. Everyone wants to run through the brick walls for him. And I think you can almost use that to show their hand. You know they're aggressive. Let them be aggressive. Obviously, don't get injured, but AR, take the hit. You got to take the hit. Get the throw off early, drop back and take the hit. Make them get roughing the passer, because they will. Go hard, count on the snap. And I think that's how you beat them, just beating an absolute school prefect team.
Yeah, and I think a huge part on Sunday is going to be potentially Lucas Oil having Colts fans in it again, and not being a repeat of the Buffalo Bills game, who were the last team that came to town. It's going to be vital that we have, home field advantage on Sunday. We're wearing the Indiana Knights jerseys too, which I can't wait to see. Absolutely love that jersey in my collection. So, obviously very minimal things that I'm talking about. But again, it kind of goes back to that feeling of it being different. It just seems like this was a perfect timed win, and where we are on the outside looking in, and this game is the biggest game left on our schedule. I would say in terms of strength of schedule for the rest of the season. So just a huge test for this team, and one that we may see them overcome.
It's for me, it's an exciting game in the sense of it's another step on learning for Anthony, and it's another chance for him to go, you were all fucking wrong.
Yeah.
And to segue nicely, the media can go fuck themselves. Quite as simple as that. I've literally the amount of respect I've lost for the likes of McAfee and others. I can't really say who, but others, but him especially, is an amount I don't think I could have ever lost for him.
Yeah, and it's certainly not just Pat. I think every major media outlet kind of laughed Richardson off the field and praised whatever idiot made the decision that they were some sort of genius, and this team was running to the Super Bowl and Joey Flacco was going to go beat the Vikings on prime time. We all knew it wasn't going to happen. And I think it shows as well how much of the media really don't watch indie football.
Yeah.
Because I found myself like tuning in or really trying to find media reaction on Monday just gone. And their kind of perception of AR was almost like as if he'd never been benched,
Yeah.
or that it was some sort of weird or unheard of reason of why he hit the bench. And it's like, no, own your shit, own the shit that you're going to say,
Yeah.
because McAfee, I think, to an extent, has done. Darius Butler has done as well, but it feels like maybe a little bit irreparable. And I, I say this name on this show all the time, and one day he may watch it. But Dan Orlovsky, he went to bat for AR throughout all of this, and I just gained even more respect for the guy.
And another person who he doesn't coach anymore, but was Mr. Gruden, who went to bat for AR, who, a lot of obviously Colts fans will remember him for being an NFL head coach, but the sit-down talk he did with a young Andrew Luck, I think it was on YouTube or something, where they was talking tactics, and it just goes to prove, like you say, the annoyance for me was everyone just brushed it off like it never happened.
Yeah.
No, it happened, and that's something he's had to overcome. And they're playing that down like he's just been out injured for 2 games, and he's come back to save the Colts. No, you all laughed at him. You all tap out game. He tapped out. He's soft. Well, let's go and ask number 35 for the New York Jets, Anthony Richardson soft, because
yeah. Shout out to number 35 who, fair play, got his head down, thought I'm gonna make this tackle, and just got crunched. I will admit though, my heart was in my mouth when I heard that noise. But I think we're gonna have to get used to noises like that with AR on the saddle, because the guy's like a bigger Cam Newton. That's what those 2 runs looked like. And I used to be fascinated watching Cam Newton all those years ago, especially prime Cam. It was just amazing to watch. But yeah, like Anthony's he's like a bulldozer, man. It's so cool to watch.
I think we are just scarred from previous quarterbacks. So, interesting point of the season. I've started seeing far too early mock drafts coming out. I know that's a world away and a whole situation away. What is this? What is the next step for this Colts team? Obviously, we're all hoping we go on a deep playoff run. That's what we're all, obviously the Super Bowl. But if we're being realistic, the best case scenario is a good wild card win helps his career. So we're either going to be picking, realistically, we're going to be picking 10 to 15. Unrealistically, we're going to be picking late 20, well, mid to late 20s. I just can't sit here again for another year, picking at 15, taking whoever falls to us. So, God, I'm babbling, but how do we be aggressive from now on that benefits the franchise?
So it's interesting. You asked that as I was actually talking to Elliot
Yeah.
about it last night. Elliot's also a big part of UK Colts fans, for anybody who didn't know. And my desire for the first round is a tight end. I think this offense is missing one key piece to stay together for quite a few years, and it is tight end. You know, some names that I'll throw out there are Colson Loveland out of Michigan, Tyler Warren, and Harold Fannin Jr. Those are the names that I see on my Twitter the most when it comes to tight ends. So let's hope that we can, we can get one of them.
Yeah, one of them. I'd agree. Tight end is definitely an area of need. I suppose my question, is there any chance with obviously the age we go defensive line, D tackle?
That for me would not be a pick that makes me be excited or glad that I stayed up till 3 a.m. to watch, right? I'm just going to put that out there now.
After Ballard's traded back.
Yeah, and I mean, Grover was re-signed for 3 years, play out your deal, Buck's still under contract, Tyquan Lewis re-signed. Obviously,
been out injured this year.
Yeah, we've got, our edges will be a year on as well then. So you've got to think that interior is going to kind of look after itself. Look, when Buckner's on the field, the interior looks after itself. The guy's an elite player.
Yeah.
But yeah, for me, I think in the first round, I want to see tight end or I want to see free safety. That would be my two kind of dreams.
Excellent. So that's about all I've got, unless you've got anything else.
No. I mean, do we? I guess a fun question to end the show. Yeah. We've seen Ben Johnson line up offensive linemen this year, on the edge, and score touchdowns, right? And on Sunday, we saw two unfamiliar faces join the Colts formation, which was DeForest Buckner and Grover Stewart. And when you're talking about enjoyment, my enjoyment was up here when I saw those two lining up, right?
Yeah.
Do you think we'll see a defensive lineman score a touchdown on Sunday?
Wow. Either side? Or just
either team, yeah. Because Ben Johnson's going to get creative on Sunday, no doubt about it. So, well, let's not put it just the D line. Are we going to see a big man score a touchdown on Sunday?
Yeah, and it's going to be Grover.
Oh, man.
Big Grove.
I'll bring the house down if that's true. There you go. That's our prediction then, right? I'll back you on that. Big Grove's going to be in the end zone for 6 on Sunday.
Because I am absolutely with you. This defensive line with a reinvigorated DeForest Buckner is just what a 4-man line needs to be. Just looks so much better. But anyway, yeah, we'll put that out there on the socials. We'll put it out as a poll. Do we think there's going to be a big man touchdown? And ask people to comment who they think will. I'm going to go with Big Grove. Score predictions?
I've been dreading this question. Indy's going to have to score over 30 if they win. Is the only prediction I'm going to make. I can't make a score prediction. Detroit's the biggest and baddest team coming to town, and I think the winner scores more than 30. That's all I'm going to say. What about you?
Yeah, well, you heard it here first. The Colts are putting 30 on the my score predict. No, like we said, and this is going to get laughed at by Lions fans when we inevitably lose. But I just got that feeling. I've just got that feeling that, and we can say about other games, but it just feels like for them we're that trap game. You know, they're probably looking past us, thinking playoffs. We're in the playoffs. Look past them. I know that's not how professionals think, but they're human beings. So I'm going to go with the Colts. 27-10 win. I think we have a lights out performance from the defense again. But anyway, Nathan, thank you as always. To anyone watching, thank you for watching. Let's help us grow our community by liking, sharing, commenting on socials. We're on all the socials, everyone. There's about 1 million now. There'll probably be another 10 tomorrow. So, spread the words and join us next Thursday at 9:10 after the Colts 52, Lions 12.